PMA, right? PMA. I tell everybody PMA, positive mental attitude. Okay, I gotta have. The deal is, you're gonna cut the cards 10 times. That's what makes it difficult for me. Please, just an honest cut. Okay, that's all I ask. And somewhere in the middle. Try it. Helps my story. Okay. In other words, don't take 1 or 2 cards. Just that's all I ask. Okay. And that's ready now. Here we go. Here we go. Once upon a time, there was this farmer. He was a good guy. It was a 3 of diamonds. Is that 3 of diamonds? Yes. That's a good start. You keep that, we'll never see him again. He owned all this land, and he knew it was really tillable, but he didn't know dink about farming, so he found out about this guy named Old Joe. So Old Joe, our whole story is about the 3 of spades. Wow. So anyway, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good at all. Anyway,
make sure they're right.
So anyway, our whole story is about PMA. I got it now. Cut the cards there, something. Anyway, he says, Joe, whatever you got to do, I want to till this land. Do what you got to do. Joe said, well, first thing, we got to have some cowboys. He said, do what you got to do. He said, well, I'll go into town and get some cowboys. So he goes into town, he goes 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, goes 5 blocks. Joe, is that Joe? Yeah. How we doing? So he said, Joe, did you get me any cowboys? He said, you got 4 of the finest cowboys you ever found. Oh. So he gave him, what kind of tip did he give him? $2 tip. Give him a $2 tip. Paul, we'll never see those cards.
Yeah, you got help out here.
Okay, so here we have them. So now we got these cowboys, and we got Joe, and we got the owner. He said, we got to have some cooks. And Joe said, no problem, boss. I'll go downtown and get us some cooks. So here he goes. Goes 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks. Is that Joe?
Yep.
Oh, I said, Joe, you get any cooks? He said, I got 4 of the best cooks I could find. I said, that's incredible. So, tip? $2.
They're really right.
Now we got cooks and we got cowboys. And Paul is not in on this, incidentally. He's never seen it before. Okay. So now we got 10 people or whatever he got there, and he said, I noticed a problem, though, the last week. You know, the cowboys are out cowboying and the cooks are cooking, but we can't get the food to the field. We need, like, waiters or waitresses, whatever you call them. Of course, Joe said, no problem, I'll go downtown and get some. So he goes downtown, he goes 1 block, goes 2 blocks, goes 3 blocks. You're cutting them a lot different, I'll tell you that. Goes 4 blocks, and you better be Joe. Oh, said, well, do you get me these waiters or whatever? He says, I got 4 of the best ones I got. He said, well, that's good. And, of course, he gave him
you're getting it.
So anyway, now, he said, boy, now we're really getting a lot of people. They worked all week, and Saturday night come, and he said, you know, we ought to have a party or something like that. He said, I want to send you down to get some beer, but all I got is a 50, so go somewhere and get me some change for this 50. No problem, boss. Here he goes. Goes 1 block, goes 2 blocks, goes 3 blocks. Joe? He said, good. He said, did you get me change for my 50? And he said, yes, I did, boss. I got 4 10s, and of course I got 2 5s. And $2 So things are going along good, and now it's Saturday night, and I said, okay, Joe, this is probably your last trip to town, but we need some alcohol, and give them some money, and send them downtown. I know it's harder for me, too, on this. Let me tell you. So anyway, Joe heads downtown. Here he goes. And he goes 1 block, goes 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks. Joe, it's tough. Now it really gets tough. He said, did you get any beer down there? And he said, we got 4 cases. I said, well, that's great. There's only 4 deuces, boys. Only 4 deuces I'm glad you're paying attention. So anyway, he said, God, you've been making a lot of trips to town now that you're going to have to help me a little faster. He said, where have you been going all this time? He said, down to 77th Street. He said, really? He said, what do you pay for a case of beer down there? And he said, $6.38. A lot cheaper than in Key Largo, okay? $6.38. I said, really? $6.38? That's not bad. He said, Joe, you worked for me about 2-3 weeks. I don't know much about you. How old a guy are you? And he said, well, I'm 64. He was a young fellow. He said, are you married? He said, well, yeah. He said, how old is your wife? He said, 58. I said, really? You got any kids? And he said, like everybody, we have 7. I said, 7, yeah. 4 boys and 3 girls. He said, really? How old are the girls? Well, naturally, 4, 6, and 8. Right? I mean, everybody knows that. So anyway, he said, listen, Joe, the last time you were downtown, you seem to be there a little longer than normal. Is there something I should know about? He said, well, I'll be honest with you, boss. I got in a poker game. I said, God, how'd you do? He said, not too good. I got down to the last hand, and I had a hell of a hand. 4 9s. He said, you're kidding. You must have won the world. He said, the other guy had a straight flush.
Look at that.
There's
Yeah!
Okay, Mitch, you got it.